Alright, so it's another cold and chilly day, so it must be time to make some spice cookies. It needs butter, ginger, cinnamon, clovers, nutmeg, allspice, brown sugar, granulated sugar, 1.5 eggs, some vanilla, some all-purpose flour, cornstarch, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. And glaze, which I am not going to make because I do not have any powdered sugar. So, let's see here. Well, it says start with the sugar and butter, but due to the potential issues I could have with eggs, I'm going to start with the eggs. So this is an egg and a half, so I'll do 1 full egg and 1 egg yolk. This will be the full egg. The next part of this gets to be just a little bit tricky because it's calling for an egg yolk, not a full egg. So what you want to do after you make sure your eggs are good is crack your egg just a little bit, and then you're going to pull a little bit of the egg off and you're going to get the egg white out. And this I can't really show on camera, but I'm going to do it over the sink over here. Or actually I'm going to do it over the trash can. So maybe you will see a little bit. But you want to get the egg white out, or at least as much of the egg white out as you can. Then you want to put the yolk in the thing. And how I did it's about as good as you can get. There are some people who are real good at it. They can actually crack the egg in half, and then they can do like some little egg slinky thing and get all the egg white out of it, but that is a skill I do not have. So let me show you what these look like. So there's my 1 egg, and there's my egg yolk. There's a little string thing in there. I'm going to go ahead and get that out because that's not going to be hard to remove. Alright, now I need a cup of unsalted butter. Let's see. This is a 1/2 cup, so I need 2 sticks. So I need 1 more stick of butter. And this, once again, is just margarine. Now it's calling for 1 3/4 cups of sugar. And half of that is brown sugar, but I don't have it. So I'm just going to use white sugar for all of it. And it's going to be about 170 grams of sugar. I got 238 grams. Okay, so now I need to cream the butter in with the sugar. In with the sugar and eggs, that is. I'm going to move it off the scale for just a minute. Now, if I had a stand mixer, I could do this in a stand mixer and it would be real easy. But I don't. So what you end up doing is just pushing the butter into the sugar and egg mixture until it's creamy. Can't believe this is calling for so much butter. But as you can see, this isn't very hard with just a fork. Especially if you have real butter and say you let it sit out for about 30 minutes, it'd be real easy to do. This is margarine, so it's quite a bit softer than regular butter. But you just cream it up with sugar. And when it's all creamy, you're done. Alright, I'm going to get the cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, and cloves. I do not have allspice. I suppose I could look it up, but I have a feeling that allspice is a lot of what I'm about to put into it, which is cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Now I'm going to mix these spices in with a little bit of salt. Almost forgot the salt. And I'll go ahead and put in the baking soda and baking powder too. Let's see how much they think needs to go in here. And about a teaspoon of each. Alright, so we'll do this. That's good enough. And where's the baking powder? Oh, I need to put some ginger in here too. Almost forgot. I just saw it in the cabinet. That's how I remembered. And this actually takes some ginger. My ginger is missing its thing, so I gotta be pretty careful with it. There's some ginger. Alright, now I'm gonna stir this all into the butter, sugar, and egg. And as you can tell, the more I do it, the creamier everything gets. Real butter will actually get light and fluffy. Margarine doesn't tend to get very light or fluffy. So there's the difference between the two. But it is looking really, really good. And if you use this recipe, you'll notice it tells you to melt your butter. You really don't need to. You just need to work it all in there. Alright, let's see what goes in next. Butter, ginger, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg. I don't have any allspice, so I'm not going to use it. The vanilla's in. Cornstarch. Why cornstarch? And when cornstarch? 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That's an odd ingredient for a cookie. Cornstarch is a type of thickener. I'm not convinced a cookie recipe needs it, but I'll put a little bit in there anyway. Because my fear is that if I don't, this is going to turn into melty cookies. And you know what those are. Those are where the cookie bakes and melts into a solid sheet instead of individual cookies. So, we'll see. And it needs 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. That is going to be 120, 240, 240 plus 90, plus 90, 330, about 330 grams of flour. So let me turn this on. 330 grams of flour. It's going to make a lot of cookies. 2 3/4 cups of flour. I've got about 2 cups in there right now. I'm going to see what this does. Yeah, what I thought was going to happen is happening. Alright, put that over there. I'm going to have to mix this up with my hands. This is a strange little cookie recipe. It's both soft and quite doughy. So, it's a very interesting cookie recipe. It smells good. Okay. Let's see what it's supposed to do. Gradually add drying 350. Okay, it is a ball recipe. Very interesting. All right. So, I think it can actually use the rest of the flour that it calls for. So it needs about another 70 grams of flour. There we go. All right. So, the lesson here is don't be afraid to question what the recipe is doing if you're not comfortable with it. Turns out this one can use all the flour, but it doesn't look like it. But it is going to end up being like a cookie dough recipe, but probably not dough enough to do, what do you call those, cookie cutters. But it is a doughy type of recipe. And it's supposed to make quite a bit of cookies too, and I believe that. This is messy. All right. I think that is about as mixed as it's going to get. I want to waste as little of it as possible. So you might be wondering why I'm not making like chocolate chip cookies. Well, what if you can't afford chocolate chips? I mean, maybe you can. But I don't have any right now. And I'd like to show you some alternatives if you don't have chocolate chips. So I made peanut butter cookies the other week. And here I'm going to make basically some spiced sugar cookies. And this one's even, more unique because I don't have any brown sugar. So I didn't use any. Brown sugar is regular sugar plus molasses. So, if you do not have any brown sugar, but you do have granulated sugar and molasses, you can actually make your own brown sugar. Now, I don't have brown sugar and I don't have molasses. I don't have either one. So we're going to take these. It says to chill it. Let's see if there's any room in the fridge to chill anything. Well, maybe. You know what? I think I will chill this for just about 30 minutes and see what it does. Alright, I chilled this cookie dough for a minute. I'm pretty positive it wasn't 30 minutes. It was probably 15 or 20 minutes. And what I did was I went ahead and cleaned up the kitchen. So that's a benefit to going ahead and chilling your dough, is that you can clean up your kitchen while you're waiting. This is not a rolled out dough, but it is a roll it in a ball dough, which is why they want you to chill it, because otherwise I don't think it's gonna make a very good dough ball. Now, if you have a cookie scoop, this dough would work really well with a cookie scoop. Or an ice cream scoop, if you happen to have an ice cream scoop that has the little bar that swings around and dislodges the ice cream. So it's still going to make a mess on your hands, but that's what it should look like. And once you put the dough balls on your cookie sheet, you don't need to do anything else other than bake it. This dough will melt. So we'll stick it in. And in my toaster oven, it's going to be 325 degrees for 15 minutes. If you've got a standard oven, you're probably looking at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. And that 15-minute time could vary. It could be 14 minutes, it could be 16 minutes. It depends on how big or small your cookies are and how well your oven works. And I will stick my dough back in the fridge while I'm waiting on those to cook. Alright, these are done. They puffed up a little bit more than I expected, but they're not burnt. So, hey, it looks good. See what the middle looks like. Middle looks good. Well, I'd say they're pretty good. Mine turned out a little more cakey than I expected, but they're pretty good. There's a good amount of spice to them. I'd say they're definitely worth making, and they are definitely worth eating. All right. I am going to continue to bake these, but I want to wish you a Merry Christmas Eve and a Merry Christmas. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a fantastic holiday. I hope you get everything you want from Santa.